Sudi Burnett is starting a live right now. Where are you people? Namaste. Welcome everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Cliff. D under 9 LA, Maji. Welcome everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. I'm hoping that you guys are all doing great. Today topic is winter is coming. Are you ready? Tell me yes or no. Are you guys prepared and ready for winter? And if you're not, what do we need to be prepared and ready for winter? Whether we like it or not, winter is here, and a lot of us, especially if you guys are living in Europe, you're thinking about the gas price, about electricity. Hi, Saijan. Welcome, honey. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, so tools that we need to overcome the darkness, the cold, the hard time. Today, I'm doing a join live with Steven. You're going to meet Steven soon. And Steven, it's very in tune about a lot of stuff. Steven lives in Chicago, and he is a Vedic astrology. And as you guys know, I am more in tune with Vedic astrology rather than Western astrology. So he's going to tell us the upcoming, what's happening, what day are we now? Today is November 17. So Stephen going to gives us some prediction about this upcoming winter. Stephen is also very much involved with cryptocurrency. Actually, when Stephen told me about cryptocurrencies, hardly anybody had heard of them. So he's very ahead about economy. He's actually a good economist. He can pretty much give you a forecast about what to expect, either through economy or Vedic astrology. So welcome everybody, and let me know, guys, what do you think we should be prepared for this upcoming winter? If you ask me, and you always know my teaching, is that whatever truly helps us with any challenges, whether it's winter, whether it's hardship, whether it's economy, whether it's divorce or losing our jobs, doesn't matter what it is, I always stick with my two major lessons: thought caught silent, and also from the minute that you wake up, you realize that the ego mind has also awakened. So, how often am I aware to separate myself from the I that is creating my whole reality, creating all these chaoses and lacks and blah, blah, blah. Yes, I did see Stephen. Stephen, I sent you a join. You should just join me. Did I? Of course I did. Yes, I did. Okay. So write in the comments for me, guys, what do you think is the first tool or practice that you need in order to be at your best whether in good times or bad times. I just did a short Farsi live and I just talk about it. That is, thank you. It is very hard for us to do the practices when some chaos is happening outside, right? And we often forget. When I hear the bad news, when I hear that my partner is telling me, I'm sorry, it's this relationship is no longer is working. When I go to work and I hear the bad news that unfortunately we have to let you go, it's during the bad time and the hard time that we really need to be aware to do this practice more often. So at this moment, let me know, guys, what do you think your hardship is? What are you struggling with at this moment? Is it economy? Is it relationship? Is it war? Is it the riot? What is it that you're struggling with the most? Welcome, everybody. Write a comment. Okay, let me invite Stephen one more time and see if he can get on this time. Dear Stephen, when I sent you an invite, you just have to click on it and accept the invite so you could appear on my Instagram too. Greeting everybody, greeting everyone from YouTube, Muhammad. Well, here you are, Stephen. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, everyone?
Everyone is great. We are eagerly waiting for you to show up. I told everyone that you're going to tell us a lot about the winter. So, as you and I talked about, the topic is winter is coming and what do I have to do? So, it's all yours, Stephen.
Thank you, Sudi. Hello, everybody. I'm thankful to be here, and let's see what we can do to help everyone overcome the approaching challenges that are ahead of us. And as you know, things are obviously changing quite strangely in the world. The changes are accelerating. Just it seems like nothing is working as it used to work in the past. And so I thought I'd come and actually talk about this, to help people understand the times that we're in and a little bit of information that can help people feel a bit more comfortable about what to expect, during these times and the years to come. So, okay, Sudi, so would you specifically just want the for the upcoming year, or how far are we?
Yeah, I think we should just first of all, we have about almost month and a half left. What should we work to before we end 2022? And then how should the next step we should talk about what is your prediction about 2023, and let's give our people a lot of tools and practices that can help them to be empowered and to be in their best place. Before you just came in, I was just talking about asking my followers, what do you think is the first thing we need? And as you and I have been talking about, I'm calling myself an empowering clarity coach, because you and I talk about this a lot. And we know that if people are clear about the path and where they're going, then all the motivation and the juice and everything is coming with it. So I want to hear your thoughts. Let us know right now, how is the energy for this month and a half before we enter 2023?
Okay. Right. So before I continue, before I talk about that, I want to just say that understand that whatever people learn and how people feel, if you see someone else that's more successful than you, please understand that we all have a purpose in our life, and that purpose is going to be different for everybody. And of course, we have cycles of positive elevation and cycles of challenges that come in and go in our lives. And so you just may not be there quite yet if you're experiencing major challenges right now. Just understand that. So, good cycles do come eventually, and we just have to learn. It's important to understand where we are in that cycle, in that time in our life. That's all. So to talk about the rest of the year, one of the major things that we have happening right now is Mars is retrograde right now, and it's retrograde in a part of the sky that's going to cause people to feel probably angry and argumentative and impatient, and it may feel like just progress is not happening fast enough for people, almost as if they're going backwards and not, maybe they have gone 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and not achieving probably what they're expecting to get by the end of the year, and maybe something that they started on probably stopped and doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. So just have patience, understand that there's a purpose for this happening. And we may simply need to reevaluate whatever area of life this is happening for everybody. Mm-hmm. And Mars will be retrograde until about the middle of January. So by then, the energy will then slowly begin to return to normal. And so please be careful when you're driving and talking on the phone about angry outbursts, for example. This is very common during this time. And, speeding when you're driving, or communicating, sending email too fast, hit the send button before you think twice about that, something like that. So please understand, everyone's experiencing, this sort of thing. So
the anger issue.
That's one major thing. Anger issues, yes, especially if you're on the more impatient side yourself by nature. This will affect those people a bit more than others, yeah. And so that's one major thing. And let's see here. So most of the audience here from international
yes.
locations.
We have some from US, from Canada, Europe, and Middle East.
Okay. Right. So obviously this is, here in the Middle East, obviously, Sudi shared with me a lot of the uprising that's happened over there. And, Mars in this location can probably support some of this, some of the anger that's coming out, and the intolerance, for whatever people are fighting to, achieve rights and justice and things like this. And there's a lot of, we are overall in the world right now going through a cycle of ethics. And so there's going to be, if you haven't noticed already, I think everyone probably knows this, there's a lot of unethical behavior happening in the world, and increasingly so. And you may see this around, probably even maybe it might be at least one person in your life, something like this is happening, where they're acting unethical. And understand that this is part of the whole evolutionary cycle as a whole. This will run a little further into the future, and then we will enter into another cycle, which would be much more prosperous. We have a very prosperous future ahead of us, but we have challenging times, that are increasing right now. And so not to get ahead of ourselves, but I know that some people probably need to hear this because they may, be really struggling right now in some part of their life, probably, whatever that may be. Yeah. So, all right. So we have that happening. What else can we discuss today? Venus also is actually not visible right now. It's invisible, and it's below the horizon of the planet Earth, and this causes a reduction in all of Venusian qualities, such as people may not feel as wealthy or rich or as comfortable or beautiful as they probably
I feel
normally
definitely this way. I'm not prosperous enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not, yeah.
Well, Sudi, that's yeah. Everyone's experiencing this in a different part of their life. It just depends on which houses in their astrological chart Venus is ruling, and so, yeah, the level of comfort is going to be low. Love partnerships may be challenging right now, a little bit more so than usual. You may not feel the love right now from your partner. That may be happening. It may feel like a limitation in income right now that may have come, to a slowdown in the past several weeks, maybe a little bit longer. And what else can we say? Yeah, those are the two. The relationship houses and the income houses are two houses that Venus rules, and so these are being reflected in the world. So peace too. Obviously, this is Venus. There could be obviously a lot of a little bit lack of peace where there really should be, especially maybe in personal relationships or in the family, something like this. It's a little different for everybody. Yeah, so that's one thing. What else do we have here?
Stephen, talk a little bit about economy, because these days, a lot of people are worried. A lot of people, because the reason we were talking about this, why I have chosen to have my niche on concentrating mainly on mid-age women, is because a lot of them are facing economy issues, right? So a lot of people are ending up in a unsatisfying relationship because they're not financially secure. So how do you see that, like in the next month and a half? How do you see the economy?
So right now, unfortunately, the world, has really been at the mercy of the United States dollar, and this has been in place for quite some time. Maybe some of your audience may understand that this is a big scandal that's happening. On one hand, this is actually good that's happening. On the other hand, a lot of people are going to suffer from most of it when it unfolds. But the U.S. dollar is being destroyed, and because of this, this is going to have a chain reaction, a domino effect on a lot of the global economy, because most things were normally priced in U.S. dollars, and of course this is complicated finance. But to put it short, we're leaving this Western dominance of the world behind, and this is just beginning to increase, and of course the financial economy is connected to this, and so for the next few months, like I said, with Venus invisible, and by the way, the Venus will be invisible until about the 20th of December. So once we get toward the very end of the year, we should begin to notice improvement from that point, and relations from that point. Anybody that's actually, one more thing that came to my mind, anyone that's recently paired together with a partner or may have met somebody, you have to be very careful about this partner. There could be something secretive about them. They may be married. They could have children when they say they didn't have children. Something like there's some type of misclarity right now that may be happening with some people, and of course this will begin to come to light, and once we get to the end of the year, and of course all these qualities I mentioned before, so people may begin to feel that the limitations on the income will begin to lift as we go toward the second half of January and February, and it'll become more and more prosperous. So but to touch on this, what Sudi just mentioned, we are going into a digital economy. This is going to be a radical change for society. This is an evolutionary cycle. It's going to really, ultimately, in the end, it'll lead to a lot of freedom, and it's going to make life a lot easier. But we are entering a time of digital currencies, and but before that really takes off, we have to watch the collapse of the Western financial system, and then of course there will be a new digital system to replace it, and we want to be careful. The central banks have to be careful what I'm talking about online here. The banking system that's in place now may not be here soon. And so this is going to cause losses on a major scale. And the FTX scandal, for those of you who are following this, that's actually here, based in the Caribbean in the United States. This is a very large scandal, including washing of money and sending money back and forth without people seeing. And so there's a lot of crime here. This is part of the ethics scandal that I mentioned earlier. So this is unfolding. But this is going to be, obviously, now it's being reported on in the news. And there is an effort to cause fright in people when it comes to digital currencies, because they are mentioning large dollar values of Bitcoin and perhaps other cryptocurrencies. This is intended to scare people away from the investment of these sovereign currencies. My personal opinion is that this is our future, not the digital currencies that they will be offering the public, and it will make it very easy to use those. And there'll be several efforts to make this successful. But in the end, me personally, I would reconsider using this, but it won't be long. We're in a time of fast change, and so don't think just because this is coming along that this is going to here to stay. It's going to take time for things to settle, and of course, just be cautious, with your decisions. It would be very wise for people to actually have paper money at home kept. In case, because we will experience internet outages and power outages, and there will be climate changes. And of course, all these things happening at the same time are going to influence. You may go shopping for groceries, and there will be no internet to process your electronic credit card payment, for example. And you will need small denominations in order to make your purchases. So, to put it simply.
So one of my clients said no to digital currency. Some of us are still against that. We don't like changes, Stephen.
Right. Most people don't like change. For the people that are not good with technology, precious metals, if you actually have the ability to purchase silver wherever you are, in whatever form, whether they're coins or if you're here in the US, we used to create our coinage here with approximately 80 to 90% silver. Anyone who has a large amount of those, they will actually be useful for bartering, believe it or not, when the system comes untied. And, many people are just simply not going to want to accept dollars. And of course, there'll be limitations on financing, obtaining credit, things like this. And people will resort to bartering, trading, if they're looking to sell something like a car, well, maybe, instead of getting cash, they'll get some cash and maybe a motorcycle and maybe a jet ski, something like this. And there'll be a period of time that all of us are going to have to go through, this, depending on where we live. Some areas might do better than others. And, but yeah, if you're afraid of digital currencies and you'd rather wait, that's fine. It's understandable. Silver is my personal favorite. I think that it's undervalued. The price has been suppressed. I think that this is going to go a long way in different parts of the world. I think we're going to read about stories where people are purchasing large ticket items with very little amount of silver because the value would have risen so fast, so much. That's one of my personal opinions. So
they're asking about gold, Stephen.
Yeah. So, of course, gold, we all know gold. Gold will still do well. I personally believe that there's still room for value increase in gold. I don't think it's going to be a crazy amount, maybe something like, I don't know. I mean, this is not financial advice for anybody, but I don't, we might see maybe a 50% rise in gold after all of this comes apart. But silver is so inexpensive right now, and the price has been suppressed for so long. I feel that this is like a secret, a secret way to people can actually advance, and really make an improvement on their financial status just by investing even some. If you have jewelry, okay, that's fine too. But if you can get your hands on some coins, depending on how much you have, maybe some bars, This would be very smart idea. And as things begin to fall apart, you'll begin to notice that people are going to want to trade with things that have tangible value behind them, because, of course, the American currency used to be backed by gold and silver. But the gold, the thing is, we're going to a time of science fiction. There's going to be a lot of high technology that's been suppressed. A lot of this Nikola Tesla technology, believe it or not, a lot of this is going to come out into the public for public consumption and use. And, and a lot of this is going to require the use of silver to manufacture. And because of this, a lot more, we're going into in the Aquarian age, and the age of Aquarius involves high technology. What we've seen so far, what we're using today, is really not even close to begin where we're going. And a lot of these technologies are going to require silver for manufacturing, and the demand for silver is going to rise, and this will increase the price very quickly. And so whatever if you're just simply trying to preserve your wealth, your savings, this is one really good way to do it. But eventually we will go into a digital economy where we're actually using our mobile phones and using electronic wallets in there, similar to how we would pay with Apple Pay or Samsung Pay, except there'll be an additional cryptocurrency wallet in there for going to and from. And of course, the public is going to be probably the first to accept these, and then I think the businesses are going to follow. I've seen some businesses accepting cryptocurrencies. They're very forward thinkers. There's not very many of them because what's happening is so complicated and people are in so much fear. Just understand the old way is not coming back. We're simply evolving very fast, and because the economy is so big, the Western economy is so large, it's going to take time for it to all fall apart. So just understand that we are going into a new time when all the major changes pass, including Earth changes. It will be a very fantastic future. Yeah,
nice. Stephen, couple of days ago when I was talking to you and I said someone is very good at doing this thing, I'm not bringing name because she might be watching right now. And you said, well, that depends on where her moon is. So explain to us, what planet or what house and what's the situation of the moon for people who are really struggling, like what makes someone a sign or the moon for them to be really like the superhuman, and whatever they touch it turns into gold, and what is it that is holding some people back from prosperity, making money and all that?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question, Sudi. Thanks for asking. Right. So the moon in sidereal astrology, which is mostly the Eastern system, Vedic, and including Babylonian, wherever the moon is, the moon in the East resembles the mind and how the mind thinks. And so, and of course, we have a constellation of 27 different constellations in the Eastern system. Where the moon could be when you're born. And this is really what indicates how you think. And so when the moon is in an earth sign in the Eastern system, this is going to bring about a person that has the mind of a merchant and of material, tangible goods. And so someone that has a moon in the earth sign, they'll be naturally good at being a merchant, working as a shopkeeper or a salesperson or a stockbroker, anything like this, And of course, they're better with finance because by nature they're producers, And we have, perhaps we can do a webinar on more detail on this. But I'll give a little bit of spiritual knowledge to the public here, your audience. So. We have obviously 4 categories, of the people are born into, depending on where the moon is. So if the moon is in an air sign in the Eastern system, this is a service provider. This would be anywhere from a handyman, carpenter, electrician, a doctor, where you're providing services to the public. Someone who knows how to fix things. For example, if you know someone like this, the moon is in an air sign. And so they're good at communication and talking and relaying information, to people. They're easy to talk to, things like this. So these are service providers. And of course, there's more detail to know exactly which specific service they're providing best.
What about water, Stephen? If your moon is in water.
Yeah. So if your moon is in a water sign and using the sidereal Eastern system, this makes you, according to the ancient texts, this makes you a Brahmin. This would be like the priest class, like a professor level person who actually, because the clergy of any religion, actually the purpose is to teach love to the public. And most people don't know this. When they walk into a church or let's say a mosque, what they're actually going in there to do is learn how to love. This is the reason. This is why we go. Our parents may not explain this to us, but when we enter into these houses of worship, we're learning how to love. And someone with a moon and a water sign knows emotion. They understand emotion and how deep, just like the depth of the ocean, they understand emotion. It's like their strength. And of course they have the ability, these Brahmins or the priest class, or the professor class, they make excellent university professors because they're naturally good at teaching. And of course, there are a lot of qualities that go along with all these different placements, but to keep it simple, these are people that are normally good at emotion, and they know, they understand love, and they can tell how to emote, successfully to other people. So they normally make, you'll normally find people that are pursuing, if you have a moon in water, you're very strongly interested in either religion and or spirituality, one of the two, depending on your path in your life, where you are. And of course, this is this is really the priest class, the Brahmin class, people that are naturally good at teaching high
level. What about fire?
Philosophy. Right. So the fire, if you got a moon in fire, this means that you're a natural warrior. These are the protectors of the zodiac. These people are born to protect the public. So normally, naturally, these people, anyone with a moon in a fire sign, is found working in the fields of law as an attorney or a judge or a politician. We're talking if the world was righteous, right, without the corruption. As a police officer, as a fireman, or firewoman. I don't want to do So anywhere where your responsibility is to protect the public from something, right? Any danger, right? From crime or from criminals or from, becoming injured or killed in a fire. And these people have bravery. They're born with that bravery, where they would run into a burning building and come and scoop up and collect, anyone that may be trapped inside or unconscious, something like this. So these are the protector class of the zodiac.
Very good. Where is my moon, Stephen?
Let's see. We can take a look here.
According to Western astrology, I think my moon is in a Scorpio.
Okay. All right. So, so if you're in Scorpio, well, we have to check because what we're doing is we're subtracting about 23 and some degrees from the Western tropical placement when we look at the sidereal. And what I just talked about is a sidereal technique. This is obviously, both systems work. It depends. Everyone, tends to learn the Western tropical system because it's easier and it's more simple. Yeah. But us astrologers, as we practice over time, we begin to pick up techniques that work better. Just like anything, if you're doing one profession, you notice you have a trick that makes your job easier. And so what I just mentioned earlier about the different elements of the zodiac, where your moon is, these are simply going to be indicate how the mind functions and what the mind, how it works. And so just checking.
Marol, he talked about air at the beginning. That was he started with air. Can you repeat air one more time, please, Stephen?
Sure. So the air signs are service providers, right? And these are anybody that's let's say good with their hands. They're going to be the communicators. People who these are service providers. People who offer services, provide service to the general public. It could be anything from a doctor to a carpenter to an auto mechanic. Um, just where a seamstress. Um, an interior designer, something like this, where you're offering services to the general public, and it could be all kinds. It's really going to depend. It's different for everybody, but and of course, when you have someone with a moon in the same element. So if your moon is in Libra and you know someone with a moon that's in the sidereal Aquarius or Gemini, you're going to get along with this person. These are I don't want to call it the caste system, because the caste system just simply means by birth. So if you're born into a family, the caste system would make you have to take on that same profession as your parents did. But this is not what I'm talking about. This is called a varna in Sanskrit, and it's just for your duty in life, right? And so you take birth with these abilities programmed into your subconscious, your consciousness, and then you carry this out in your life, and you use this to make a living, to support yourself. And of course, some people may not work. Perhaps you're homemaker, your family, your mom, something like this, or a father. This is not unheard of these days. This simply means you have the ability there, whether you choose to use it or not. For any reason, part-time job or something on the side, and this is important to know, because a lot of people are not in the right place in their life, and of course they need guidance. And in the very distant past, when a child was born into a tribe or a village, there would be a village astrologer that would actually take the birth information of that newborn and then consult the parents and tell them, okay, well, we have another child that lives on the other end of the town. These two are very compatible. They can become mates when they're older, and let them play together. And of course everyone would know. This was well accepted in the past, but of course now, the planet's been dominated by the Western Hemisphere. This is not going to change, and we're going into this is more complicated, maybe for another webinar, but we're going into a left and right hemisphere mindset. As we move into the future.
So Stephen, we don't have a sign that they suck and making money?
Like I said, if you don't, okay, so you can be a service provider with a merchant ability. Okay, this is something that many people have. You can be any of the other signs with merchant abilities, but because astrology is complicated. So to make it simple, the best producers, they're called, people who produce money, are going to be people who have the moon in the earth element, because they're motivated by it. They're motivated by tangible things they can touch, and of course these are earth signs. And so there's going to be, this is a kapha energy in Ayurveda, and this is going to make people want to feel comfortable, right? And so their motivation for pursuing this money is to make their life and their family's life more comfortable. Mm-hmm. And of course, they're just natural at it. And these are the people you want to actually go and talk to, because it's second nature to them. Just like someone who may be good at fixing cars. Do you go talk to this person if your car needs fixing? Well, you want to talk to a person that has the moon in an earth sign, and they may not know everything, but they're going to know more than the average person. And these are going to be the merchant class. These are producers of the world, who actually naturally, and you normally find them in shops. They'll have a small business of some kind, selling clothing or
So Stephen, hey guys, by the way, Stephen is a Vedic astrologist. If you guys want him to read your chart, please first of all follow Stephen's Instagram. And also you can get your reading from Stephen. He's very detailed, accurate, and he comes up with loads of information for you. And he also has the chart. For instance, he did mine, and he told me where are the strong points for me as far as business. Like he told me, New York for me is better than anywhere else in the US. and he's asking me to go to Caribbean for my next retreat. So he gives you a lot of details with dates and from this period to this period of time. So it's a lot of information that by asking this question, we're just getting a itsy bitsy generalized thing, and it's not really going to be helpful to anyone. Stephen, I want to get back, not to get so far away from the topic of the live today, which is winter is coming. And I want you, the other day as we were talking, I told you that I am not that I don't believe in spirituality, not that I don't call myself a spiritual being, or my coaching and my teaching has been on that. But I told you that eventually I'm moving a little bit more towards the mind and teaching people about how the mind works, because I find out, and this is my judgment, guys, my ego is judging right now, that a lot of people who are gravitating towards spirituality are very airy fairy. They're not grounded, and it's just they're not taking enough responsibilities. They're broken. They're constantly looking for ways, going to this healer, going to that shaman here and there, in order to get healed or to become whole and complete. So as soon as I had this conversation, Stephen said, "Oh, I have a lot to talk about this." I said, "Please stop. Let's do a live." So dive in here, Stephen, because I didn't let you talk about this the other day.
Thank you, Sudi. Yes, of course. Right. So I would assume that probably most of your audience understands that they don't have a soul. They are a soul. And the word soul is a generic term for consciousness. We are consciousness. And to put this very simply, well, let me say this first before I continue. In 2008, I had a near-death experience. Okay, and so this is I had an accident in 2008 during the summer that actually caused me to come out of my body, my consciousness. Okay, this is very normal. There are thousands of videos on YouTube you can watch about people who had this happen to them, whether they had a car accident or struck by lightning or heart attack, something like this. Different reasons people would come out of their body and they would, watch themselves. And many of them, it would change their lives so much. And of course, this is what put me on this path. And now I'm obviously, my purpose in this lifetime is now unfolding. And so if you don't believe in life after death, for example, or you're unsure about it, you need clarification. It's that simple. It's simply just not well understood by everybody. And if you're interested in the topic, it simply means that you have these remembrances from previous lifetimes that we lived. And so we'll start here. So we are all consciousness. We're having a temporary material experience. We're trapped in these bodies right now for however long is allocated for this lifetime. And once this lifetime is over, your body fails for whatever reason, your consciousness will be removed, and you will actually have a life review. You will begin to see everything from the time you were born as a film going across in front of your vision, and you're going to watch this as a third-person perspective. And so everyone you came in contact with during your lifetime, you're going to feel how you made those people feel, for good or for bad. And so that's why it's important to understand this when you're interacting with other people. So to understand this, all of our souls came from the transcendental, which is the origin of everything. Okay, and from that we have a part that separates from that, which is our higher self. Okay, so if you can imagine, imagine the transcendental being something like air. Okay, because it's not material, you can't quite touch it. This is simply consciousness. This is thought. This is awareness. This is something that isn't really here in today's society. It's a little bit removed from us because we are conditioned through upbringings, through school system, and much of this we may be taught religion, but of course this is limited, and many people may not understand and accept this properly. You'll simply just attend services if you're religious and pray to God. But the transcendental is the true God. This is our origin, where we came from, and the quality that this transcendental is made of is love. And this is the most valuable commodity any person in this world, if they would have experienced what I felt when my consciousness visited that higher dimension. I'm very honest when I say this. This is the same for anybody who's had a near-death experience. You come back, you are filled with so much love. There is nothing in this world that can match this feeling. It's so, so strong, and it lasted about 6 months until it began to fade away. And of course, perhaps in the future we can possibly discuss traveling out of body. This is possible to actually visit the higher dimensions, but this takes a lot of practice and a lot of work. So. But we are conscious beings. We're consciousness. All of the life around us, the animal kingdom, for example. If you have a pet at home, you'll know that the animal knows when you're not home or you haven't come home for a while. The pet is going to miss you, and of course it gets excited when it comes. Just because the animal has a soul, a consciousness, just like we do, except it's simply at a lower level. And of course, then you go into the insect world, and then of course we have the plant kingdom, which makes up all the plants and fruits, vegetables, and grass and trees, and all of this. And of course, then the mineral kingdom, and of course, this is the order that I just explained. So we have the beginning is the mineral kingdom, then we have the animal kingdom and the human kingdom, and then from that we have the supreme consciousness. So, and of course, we're at the top of the of human consciousness, is at the top of material life. And so from this we have the devas, as they're spoken in Sanskrit. These are what would be considered as angels in typical religions, but these are beings that look like us, except they have perfect everything. Okay, so their bodies are even literally larger than ours, as tall as 10 feet tall, and they have a perfect appearance when you see them. But this is there's something residing in a higher dimension than we are. Of course, the next dimension over is material, just like this one is, except it's very different. The laws of nature is very different. So without getting past it, so we come here, take birth into this world. Let me back up. A long time ago, we made the choice to come to this world or another planet by choice. I want to go down there, right? So we took birth a very long time ago. Once we came, all of us had gotten sooner or later, depending on the evolutionary level of that planet that we took material life birth in, we had become used to material life, attached to our family, our friends, things like this. When we lose a family member, this is very painful because we grow this attachment to them. But really, that family member is simply playing a role, like you would watch a film and there will be an actor in there. So, you could have your mother may have been your brother, for example, or your sister, a sibling, or a cousin in a previous lifetime. And so a lot of times, the souls will reincarnate in groups. They'll actually reincarnate in groups together, and because they feel a comfort level there, and whoever is the most difficult person in your family to get along with, it could be a parent, could be a sibling. Most of the lessons actually come from your relations with this person. You'll actually make the most growth. Evolutionary growth from your interaction with this person, even if it's a limited time in your life, and you can't stand that person anymore, you divorce them, for example, and you never see them again. All of this is all to make us to come back. And, this is what, the monasteries are for. The monks and the nuns that choose to live monastery life, they just disconnected from all of their material attachments. They understand that they're conscious beings and they're going to simply live out the rest of their material life and without the desire to come back. And this is how it works. So when we leave our body, because a lot of people read about heaven and hell, and of course, these dimensions exist, And we go there. Where we end up after we leave our body, it depends on the purity of our consciousness. I don't want to mean it's in the head, but the more pure your thoughts are, the higher the dimension you're going to visit when you leave your body at the end of your life. And of course, the heavenly dimension is not, we don't permanently reside there. If you end up in the heavenly dimension, you're going to, such people are going to simply be there for a temporary period of time. There's no time in the spiritual world, but what's something that's equivalent to approximately 1,000 Earth years would be the time that that person may take to come back. Now, you can come back much, much sooner, but some people prefer to just take a long break and a long rest and enjoy the pleasures of the heavenly dimensions. But eventually, when we get sick and tired of coming here and all of the challenges and distractions that keep us here, and the attachments we have to family, to partners, understand that these people are simply conscious beings, just like you are, and simply playing a character in your life. And once you understand this, you will hopefully come to a point where, this takes a lot of work, but you hopefully come to a point where you can actually understand and accept this, and that, because people leave their bodies attached to their family members, and whatever you are attached to just before you leave your body is going to determine your next lifetime. And this is the key to understanding this. So when we leave with attachments, we can be attached to the house, for example. Let's say you spent your whole life saving for a beautiful home, and you remodel it. And you flower the property with flowers and all kinds of vegetation. You spend so many years so attached to this world. You can actually end up as a ghost in that building. This is why we have house hauntings, because these are simply souls. This is subtle energy, simply souls that are attached to their home and they don't want to leave it. And so they stay in the house, and just like you would kick out a stranger out of the house when the new person comes in after you lost your body, these people are simply attached to the home. And when they haunt the house, they want to scare away the people because they don't want them in their home. They still think that it's their property, right? This is how this works. And so this is simply just an understanding of your existence. And we are almighty, powerful spiritual beings. There's nothing that we can't accomplish. We're in a very low level of awareness at this time in the world. This is about to change. Our solar system, perhaps I can provide a graphic for a in-depth webinar we may do in the future, but our solar system travels in a sine wave, up and down. And when it's in a down cycle, which is what we're exiting now, we're in the dark ages. And so we're now exiting the dark period of time, and we're going through the galactic center right now. And when we exit, it'll be actually above the galactic plane. So if you imagine a horizontal line, and our solar system is actually traveling above it. Right now, we're in line with it, and we're going to come above. So in the future, the world will actually is going to go back into the Bronze Age and exit the Iron Age that we're in now, Kali Yuga, where ignorance and quarrel rule, and of course the demons have control over the planet, and this is why life seems so hard right now. So we are just incarnated in a very challenging time. It could be worse. In the distant past, people only lived to their teens before they died. Now, of course, life is longer, and in the very near future, humans will be living to about 300 years of time once we remove all the toxins and the ignorance from a conscious society. So we're headed in this direction. The old way is breaking down. That actually makes this possible. A lot of us are attached to this. We're going to lose property. We're going to lose family members. All from all different reasons. But understand that once we get through this period of time, life will be much, much better. We have we have a dramatic future ahead of us. Traveling into space, for example, is going to be very, very normal. And of course, things like this, like life outside the planet, we've been kept in the dark, told there's nothing there. Maybe one day we'll find something. These are lies. The galaxy is filled with life. The Star Wars trilogy, for example, if any people are science fiction people of interest out there, these stories that the producer had actually created the Star Wars series came from the Vedas. This is about the great war in heaven that's written about in many of the world's religions. This is real. And of course, these, well, we just label them as demons. These are simply just beings of low level intelligence. We can also refer to them as actually terrestrials. They were actually exiled here, and they were trapped here. And so they lived here on the surface a long time ago, and they lost their bodies, and now they're wandering in the next dimension, manipulating humans in their bodies unknowingly. So what's happening is very complicated, but understand that we have some challenging times ahead of us. But in the future ahead of that, it's going to be fantastic, and we will one day even overcome dying. If anyone, of course, is interested in continuing material life. But just understand that when we're away from the transcendental, we are away from the love and the purity that we actually are made up of, where we came from. And this is why love feels so good to everybody, like a drug that you never want to let go of. So I hope that clarifies. If anybody has any questions, just please write them in the comments. Sudi will read them. I'll be happy to answer.
That's very nice, Stephen. We got about 5 minutes left. So winter is coming. Do you have any tools or practices that can help out people to enter this winter being more empowered?
Right. So understand that. So a few things. I would personally recommend. We are. The next year is going to be financially challenging because, of course, the financial collapse is going to take time for it to unfold. But understand, don't make purchases. I would not make unnecessary purchases if possible. Just understand that this would be a time of saving and probably investing in the right areas and buying things that actually keep value, because the paper currencies are going to lose value. This is one thing I'd say. If you don't already, please try to choose a location in your home, preferably the northeast corner of your home, where you can create some type of sacred space where you can do meditation and you feel at peace. Right? So you'll have to, when you create this, if you don't have something like this, you want to occupy all the bodily senses. So you want to create incense to occupy the sense of smell, and you want to beautify this, right? This area, perhaps you can put pictures of loved ones, or perhaps loved ones that have passed, or if you're religious, you could put your religious deities in this area, and of course, this will put flowers there, fresh flowers every so often. You want to make this place appealing to you, and of course, you want to occupy the sound. Perhaps play some tranquil music, something like this, to occupy the sense of sound, and of course, you'll need to learn some breathing techniques. Perhaps one of the future lives we can go over this in more detail. But everyone would probably need this, especially when they're feeling down and low, where you can come and recharge and you can meditate. We'll talk about the times of meditation, because there's specific times where this works the best. And I know most people maybe try this and they didn't feel it worked. We'll go into more detail about this. That's that. Please continue following Sudi. We need guidance through this time. If you feel that it's challenging for you, understand that just make sure you're surrounded by people that can make you feel supportive and positive and optimistic. But understand that the old world is now going away, and this is going to be felt by different people in different ways. Understand that we have a bright future ahead of us. We just have challenging times that we have to endure temporarily. So that's what I can say. Perhaps, just keep tuned with Sudi. I'm sure she'll have guests on that will help people to travel through this time.
Yes, Stephen, sorry to cut you out. I have 2 exercises that repeatedly I remind everyone, and for everyone that come to my webinar, we keep working. I keep giving them reminder and working. One of them, I call it thought cut silence. So meditation to me is not something that you sit down and you want to calm down your physical body, do it for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or whatever. Meditation to me is 24 hours. As long as you're awake, you are meditating. So basically, the exercise number one that I even made, I had someone to make a animation for me, is thought cut silent. So I am aware at every second that the minute my mind, which I call it a thinking machine, this factory that produces thoughts, the minute I hear that the thinking machine say, you know what? In my eyes mind, I imagine I have a golden scissor in my head and I just cut that. So I don't let the thinking machine create a whole to be able to finish and create a whole sentence. So this is one of my exercises, thought cut silence. The second one is, I said, from the minute that I wake up, I become conscious. I realize that last night I was dreaming, and in my dream it wasn't under my control. The dream could take me anywhere, right? So when I wake up in the morning and I become conscious, I am aware that last night I was dreaming. If I'm not aware right now, the ego mind will take me into another dream. So the second practice that I keep repeating is, from the minute that I wake up, I am aware that the mind ego has also awakened. So the practice is, every second I'm separating myself from the I, from this false ego mind. So these are two tools and practices that I have given my followers, and I keep reminding them. And people, for the time that they're using these tools, everything is great. They're in calm and peace. They are in higher consciousness. They view the outer world very differently. Money comes, the job is good, the relationship is fine. And the minute they drop doing these exercises and practices, then again, they're just, as I call it, they leave the path and then they get sidetracked. So by giving some tools or something, do you have something? Because I know you had a spiritual guru also, something that in the tough time, in the winter time, in the crisis, in the whatever dark winter, people can, it's a tool that they can use daily.
Right. So, well, I think it's important that people need to know, aside from what you just mentioned, yes, I think that people need some type of regular practice. Of course, if they respond good to motivational coaching like you offer, something like this would probably be necessary for some people. But at a foundational level, you can train the mind through mantras. Some of us struggle with racing thoughts. Those in the audience that have this problem, yoga is very actually useful for this, to stop the thoughts from getting out of control. Of course, we'll touch again on meditation in the future. I think that this needs to be explained and clarified more in depth, to help everyone understand, because I know that perhaps some people may be trying. If you feel you get upset during this time with Mars retrograde, by the way, please do breathing exercises. Just inhale, extend your stomach, exhale. This will calm your anxiety and your anger very quickly. Try it yourself. You'll see that this works. This is intended for this purpose. We have tools to use your body in the most efficient manner, and we're here to help everybody learn and understand that, so that we know how to go through life. So I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you so much, Steven. Yes, breathing. So you told us that breathing techniques will help, and also yoga, any type of body movement. I made it a daily practice to walk for 2 hours, and as I'm walking, 2 hours, I'm getting my body move and I'm breathing deeper. All of a sudden, because we know the chemicals in our brain change, I receive more dopamine and serotonin, and I become much more happier and more pleasant to be around other people. So yeah, that's another thing. Stephen, what, tell everyone what is your last name and your Instagram so everyone will follow you.
Yeah, so you can find me as Steven Starr on Instagram. I'm sorry, my page is really not decorated just yet because I'm a little new to the social media platform. But feel free to post if you like, or contact me for questions if you want a reading. I'll be giving discounted readings here for Studi's audience. And if you have any questions, I just feel free to write. I'll answer and try and help you in any way I can. As we move into the future, of course, I do recommend someone really should have some type of birth chart astrological reading so they understand which cycle they're running in their life. And this will help you navigate these challenging times more than ever, of course, because things are going to get harder as we move into the future. And this is important to understand what these obstacles are going to be for each person, which is going to be different. And, people like myself are here to help everyone else navigate and make their way through here. So whether it's just an astrological reading, they want to know what to expect for the foreseeable future, or if they're having a challenge, or perhaps they want to ask spiritual questions, and spiritual knowledge is going to be very, very valuable during this time as things begin to fall apart, including the religions, everybody. What we thought was here to stay will surprisingly not be. And we have a lot of surprises coming our way. And yeah.
Yes.
So
Stephen, thank you so much. Guys, by the way, because Stephen has done my chart, I have to tell you guys, he takes his time. So, because Stephen needs a day to meditate, a day ahead to meditate on your chart, and when he's finally ready to read your chart, it's not going to be like 5 minutes reading. Give yourself a good 2 hours. He's going to do a Zoom call with you, and he's going to tell you about everything. He's going to run your chart, giving you date from what date to what date you should be doing this, or places that are good for you to live, stronger for you. He's very good about relationship. Like I have been stunned by him that I can just give him a name and then somebody that I'm involved, and Stephen can tell you everything as soon as he knows the day birth, whatever the birth is. He can give you so much information about the person. So I definitely, if you guys are in a relationship, I would definitely recommend that you have a reading with Stephen, that he can really tell you who is the person that you're going to get involved with. It might really help you a lot of headache, and he is great. Anyway, Stephen, thank you so much for being, and everyone please follow Stephen, and I see you guys tomorrow in a Farsi live, the same topic. Winter is coming, are you ready? And I see you all next Thursday. Thank you so much. Thanks, Stephen. Love you.
Thank you.
Bye bye, everybody. Bye, everyone. See you tomorrow. Bye bye. Goodbye, everyone. Bye bye. Love. See you tomorrow.